Hey, everybody, welcome to our call today. We're just going to jump right in here. I know it's the top of the hour, but we do want to get started on time, and we are recording this. So, just letting everybody know, we do appreciate your participation. So, if you're willing to keep your camera on, although, frankly, most of the time we're just going to spotlight our speaker. But this way, we can also see some reactions. We can see if you're smiling. We can see if you're raising your hand when questions get asked. So we do prefer that you keep your camera on. And we are going to be kicking off here in just a moment. I'm going to just tap dance a little bit while we get some more people in here. But I also want to say that please engage. Chris and I, my partner, who you see here in the room with me as well, we were participating in another event earlier today online. And it really is important that you engage in this. So many people show up to these events and then they just kind of have it running in the background. And I would challenge you, if that is the instance, if that's kind of the case, how are you feeling? Well, I'm just going to run in the background. Well, think about that as this relates to your business and to your success. How much of it do you truly give it the attention and focus that it needs versus kind of just, oh, I'm just going to kind of dabble. I'm just going to kind of feel it out and let it go. And guess what? When you do that, you don't get results. You don't get the full benefit. And so I encourage you to give this 100% of your attention as if your life depended upon it, as if your business depended upon it. Because in reality, in many ways, it does. I mean, for many of the people that I've been working with lately, who are struggling and they wonder why, this is what it boils down to. And so, if you want to stop the struggle, understand that focus is a big part of it. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce a pal that I met recently on a cruise ship, and it was for the Marketers Cruise. And now she's going to be joining us on our cruise, the Podcasters Cruise, which we have coming up in October 12th through 19. If any of you are excited to cruise and hang out with Krista, Jenny, myself, we would love to have you there. And it's podcastersatsea.com. But what you're here for right now is to learn more about what you can do in the world of self-publishing and how you can turn this into a revenue stream that could really rock your business world. And I know that Krista and I have been talking about it like we're going to be doing this ourselves. And so that's part of what made me so excited to bring in our guest speaker today, Jenny Hansen Lane. So, Jenny, I'm going to turn it over to you and going to sit back and learn while you lay out the goods.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I see some beautiful faces. For those of you that are we're gonna use the chat today. So I'd love to know like where you're listening from and what you're excited to learn about this type of self-publishing. We are going to interact in the chat since we have Krista and Michael both here to help us too. So definitely, I want to know where you're tuning in from and what you're mostly excited to learn. And we're going to dive into this training. And I am really excited to share these things with you. I like that Michael said that information can change your life. That I am a big proponent of that, and you guys will see that in this training. And I also, one thing I really like about Michael and Krista is they are calculated risk takers. And I will tell you a quick story. We were on a boat and we were snorkeling, and Michael decided to get out his drone in the windiest like Caribbean wind ever. And I was like, he's going to lose his drone. He did not. He took the best calculated risks and made this video. And I will always remember that about him, that he was just going to go and get it. He knew that he was in Aruba and he was going to go and get it. And so I want you guys to think about those ideas that you have where you're like, you know what? I've thought about this, but have I ever really gone after and gotten to it? Okay. He probably has some reels of that, and we'll probably do more videos like that on the Podcasters Cruise. So I I am always a big proponent of taking those risks. Okay. So my name is Jenny Hansen Lane. You guys know that you're here for this training, how I created six figures in revenue without working with a traditional publisher or even being a savvy author myself. Okay. Full disclosure, I want to give you a great training, and then I'm going to give you an opportunity, an invitation. If you don't want to do things yourself, I'm going to give you an option A or B. And I always like to be very transparent about that because I don't believe that we should have to be alone when we learn new processes and we want to do new things. Okay. So you'll see this throughout the presentation when we get to a special invitation for specifically those of you that are here today. So thank you for being here. A little bit about me, besides like cruising in the Bahamas. I love hiking with my family. It's one of my most favorite things. I'm a boy mom to 3 boys, and I've been hiking my whole life. I hiked the Inca Trail in Peru, carried my own pack, did it as a study abroad, and it was life-changing just to be in the Amazon forest. And there's a second day in the 26 miles that you hike on the Inca Trail where it's just stone stairs. You can see it here in this picture. And it's basically just 4.5 hours of like you and your mindset, and you're just going through this, staying close to the wall, staying away from the llamas. But it's a really powerful experience just to accomplish this step by step. And waking up above the clouds is also kind of an amazing experience. And one of the most tender things that I experienced on the Inca Trail was all these little tiny babies that were on the trail. They were with their mom. They were making food. They were selling overpriced Gatorade. They deserved every penny of that. But this really was compelling to me that like they were making a living while having a family. And that just really inspired me as a single mom. Okay. So my bold promise to you guys that are here today, and even those of you watching the replay, is that if you take action on the things that I share today, I know that it will change your life because it's changed my life. Okay. I know my big promise to you is that you're going to save time from the things that I'm sharing, and you're going to have ideas on ways to make money on your own terms, which is a really big deal. I promise you that if you implement anything from today, you will have less stress in your life because you are taking more control of your life, those calculated risks, right? And that you'll be able to reach your goals faster. I don't do really a lot of fluff because I have 3 kids and my ultimate goal is time freedom, okay? That is my goal for you today. I want you to buy back time with your loved ones, and I only like to pursue things that really do that for me, okay? So if you stay till the end, I have a special gift. I actually have 2 gifts for you. I have a PDF. It's 100 book ideas that you can actually publish in 7 days on Amazon. And the other thing is an interior book that made me $38,000. You might be thinking like, how are you giving us the inside of a book? You're going to learn that in secret number 2 of this training, okay? So please stay to the end so you can get the full benefit of the things that we're teaching, because we are going to talk about 3 different types of things for book publishing, okay? And let me just tell you what those are. We're going to talk about why books can be profitable. You have probably heard people say, "Oh, I want to get my message out there. Doesn't matter if it makes me money." I think that's okay. I think getting your message out there is important, but what if it could make money? Okay. The second thing we're going to talk about is why your first book doesn't need to be something that you spend 5 years writing. I'm not going to throw rocks at anybody that's done that because I know it's similar. Well, men would say it's similar to having a baby, but it is a lot of work. Okay. Getting a book written is a lot of work. We're not even talking about that today. The third thing that we're going to talk about is why you don't actually need a book coach or traditional publisher to be a bestseller or to even generate income. Okay. And so we are going to be talking about these 3 things and why they're so important to you inside of your business. And use the chat to ask questions because I believe information leads to inspiration. The more information you get, the better off that you're going to be. But before we really dive in, I want to make sure that you guys are all in the right place. Okay. So I want you to drop a yes or a 1 if you're in the right place. Okay. This is for you if you're looking to beat inflation and want something that finds customers for you. Okay. Drop a 1 if that's you. Drop a 1 if you are ready to stop Googling what is the best side hustle in 2024. Okay. I know there's tons of people that do that every single day in Google. Okay. Perfect. I'm seeing lots of 1s. I love it. Okay. This is also for you if you have a ton of ideas and you need a vehicle so they see the light of day. I think all of us have ideas that have not been executed on. I know everyone in this room is here because of this training to have an idea and act on it. Okay. Yes. 1, 1, 1. Yes. Perfect. Okay. If you're looking to generate more income and authority, okay, this is for you. I know all of you guys are 1 for that because you're Michael's people. Okay. So this is not for you if you don't think that multiple income streams are important, or you don't believe that learning a new skill set can change everything, and you are not really interested in not trading time for money. You don't want to stop. You're okay with the 9 to 5, or you're okay with, showing up visible every time you need to get money. Okay. Yes. People are saying, yes, this is not what we want to do. We want to be able to free up our time. And this is kind of how it started for me as a new mom, you guys. I became a bonus mom And I was really excited to co-parent. And like 3 weeks after becoming a bonus mom, um, my husband got called to family court, and his ex-wife wanted full custody of the child that we shared, and she wanted all the income associated with that. And I had a newborn baby. He's here. You're going to see him in a this is his before photo. And just sitting in a courtroom, I don't know if you guys have ever felt this way. I had the realization like I needed my own income stream that no one could touch but me. Because have you guys ever felt that way where like if you had your own income stream, it would make a difference? Drop a one if that sounds like something that interests you. Okay. So that light bulb moment was like, oh wow, this is something that affects my whole life if I don't figure it out. I think a lot of us have that in the income game. If we haven't figured it out, it affects our whole entire life. Okay. You guys are dropping ones. Yes. Yes, Grace, one. Okay. So that's really where I went on this journey. Like, how do I do this every day? I had a program, I did photography, I made 6K in one day. Then I went out and taught it, and I realized I was out of the home trying to do this thing. I needed something that was behind the scenes that gave me a little bit more. And in the marketing world, I heard Russell Brunson, a big marketer, talk about publishing often. And so I published 750 episodes. I tried to break the world record. A weatherman holds it. I tried to do all the things just to make things work. And I'm not going to throw rocks at podcasts because I totally found my voice, but something happened in that process. And what happened is I realized I needed to be in a place where traffic was naturally hanging out with their wallets open. Okay. And so that's when I started repurposing my courses into books onto Amazon. Okay. I did it with my kids. I remembered those Peruvian babies with their mom, and it was something I could do at home, and it didn't take me away from anything. Okay. So my first course was about authenticity. So I released this book. I thought at this time you had to write 50,000 words. This book is about 30,000 words. I was able to rank it for global marketing. Then I took my course and put it through a workbook so people could go in and fill out things to become more authentic online. But what happened during that time, that first month, I made $18.77, and I didn't have to get on a Zoom call, and I didn't have to send an email out. It just was behind the scenes. For me at that time, it was like, oh, that is milk and bread and chicken at the grocery store. And that was enough of a light bulb for me to realize I don't have to be running around town. I can keep publishing and keep finding a way to make this profitable. Okay. So this is a screenshot of some of my books, and you'll see some of my students' books as well. But my journey, I didn't become a success overnight. Little things happened every single night. Okay. So you can even see my second month, it was just $65, but that was like, oh, that's a tank of gas. Okay. The next month was enough to cover utilities. To me, that was a big deal as a mom that was trying to figure out her passive income side hustle as a digital marketer. The next month, I was able to cover our mortgage. People are always like, how is your mortgage so cheap? We flip houses, we buy really inexpensive houses. Okay. So once I saw that this was happening and I wasn't doing the work again and again and again, I was publishing one book at a time. It totally changed my brain. Okay. And after 6 months, I was making over $1,000 a month just from my book income stream. Okay. And you can see that my first year, I crossed $11,000 and was able to help invest in a rental property that it totally blew my mind about books and making books profitable. Okay. So what would it mean to you guys if you had something like this? Would it make a big deal in your life? Drop a one if it would make a big deal to have more control over your freedom because you didn't have to worry about upfront, right? Jean, yes. You guys are typing so fast. Grace, yes. Annie, yes. Oh, love it. Musical storyteller. I love that. Okay. So really important aspect of this training is that while I made money overnight, I'm not an overnight success, right? This is just very simple things that we're doing over and over and over again. Yes, Jan says one. Okay. So my journey started here where I started to learn Amazon ads, and Amazon ads actually told me what customers kind of wanted to buy. And so that really helped my process go faster, where I was able to sell over 6 figures within the first year. Okay. So would you like to know how I did this? Drop a one in the comments if you'd like me to go through the bankable book method. Jan says one. Yes, one, please. Yes, perfect. Okay. I want to know what you guys are interested in. Drop that in the chat. Any ideas or interests that you've had about maybe something book-like or a passion that you've had that you've just really wondered about. Okay. I would like to use one of your ideas in the chat, so please do that. Secret number one is how to make books profitable. The most important part about this is understanding that we are publishing on a platform that has 90 million monthly users. Okay. Nancy says, success. What type of success? Give me a little bit more. Journals and children's books already on Amazon. Okay, not selling. Jean, this first step will blow your mind. This will help you so much. What type of journals are they? Okay. I want to know in the chat, but I'm going to dive over. I just want you guys to remember as we go throughout this training that 2.6 million books are sold every day. Okay. 70% of that is on Amazon. Okay. 90 million monthly buyers every single month. This isn't people getting on social media to check on grandma. Okay. These are people that are literally shopping. Okay. I'm one. I buy books weekly. And Amazon is the only place that owns the buy now button. They have the patent on it. I for my own protection, I call him Beth Bezos, right? The owner of Amazon. But 90 million monthly buyers are on here. Okay. So this is the place that we want to be able to make books profitable. It's all about location. Okay. So you guys have given me some really good things to look up here. I'm going to go to the chat real quick. We had some energy healing, self-awareness, communication. Okay. The first thing you do, this is the ABC method. This is secret number one. We want to know what's in demand on Amazon, right? We want to be able to have that market gap information. Okay. So let's see, I'll go with this first one, Abundance Journal. So essentially what we're going to do, we're going to type our idea into Amazon and we're in the search bar and we're incognito. And the reason we're in incognito is because we don't want Amazon to use any of our previous ideas. Okay. And you can see here, Krista said Abundance Journal. So I started typing it in and let me go back a little bit because this is the ABC method. We're typing in letters of the alphabet. Every single thing that comes up in this bar, you guys, is in demand on Amazon.
Jenny, we're seeing
We're,
your
we're
slide.
not seeing
Oh.
your screen.
Man, I'm all by myself in this blissful. Okay. Can you see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So everything, this is an incognito window. That's why it's black. And we do that so Amazon's not getting any of our previous data. And Krista said Abundance Journal. So when I type in A, everything that's in demand for the letter A comes up here. So this is the very first step. So Audible books, right? Audiobooks. We're going to type in, we're going to go abundance. Okay. Abundance book. It's in demand. Abundance mindset, abundance journal. It's already just the sixth or seventh thing that's in here. So using the ABC method is the first thing that we do. If we've ever published a book and it's not selling well, there's a step that we may have missed, and it's the ABC method to truly see what is in demand. If it comes up in this list, that is your permission to lean into that and do additional research, knowing people are actually searching for this, okay? And so when you actually click on these things, you want to find the results under 10,000. This lets us know with 90 million monthly buyers and 2 million books sold every single day, that if you can niche down with something like this and you find results under 10,000, people are going to find your book. Okay. So how do you do incognito? You right click any web browser and it should pop up as an option. Okay. Let's do energy healing. That was another one that Jean mentioned. And I'm in the books category in incognito, and I'm just going to paste this energy healing book, energy healing book on death, healing the feminine energy. Okay. So Jean would then decide, what is my next step for healing energy? Okay. What type of book? And each of these keywords is going to bring up different things. So the first thing I want you just to have that mindset shift is that these suggestions are keywords that people are typing in. Okay. So self-awareness journal. Okay. And so we want to be able, if this is over 20,000, we want to think about who is this awareness journal for? Okay. And as we niche down, we're able to find customers that are actually searching for things. And that really cuts out the clutter. How many of you would publish books knowing that they're in demand? Would that change? Drop a one if if you knew that you could always find something in demand, would you publish? You probably all those ideas that you're like, oh, I actually know people are looking for this. Nancy wrote entrepreneurial success. Okay. Entrepreneurial books. People look for that. Entrepreneurship books. entrepreneurship books for women, asking for, so there's all these different things we can click on, and each one will give us tons of ideas. Okay. So knowing this is truly the first step to having success with making a book profitable. Because I always use this example, like, don't just make a diet turtle logbook, because people aren't searching for that. And then like a month later, you guys, our next door neighbor went out of town and she asked my kids if they would watch her turtle and feed it. And I was like, there is a market for everything, but we need to make sure there's enough demand on Amazon for us to take her idea. And a lot of times we publish books for us first instead of for other people. And in the business world, marketing world, if we can take one step back and just think about it from the customer's aspect, it can truly be powerful. And it truly has been powerful, understanding that you can actually look up books and even type in things on the end to see what comes up. Okay. So that is truly the first step in being able to, I think, growing your confidence in what you want to publish online, knowing that there is a demand for it. Okay. So to me, that has been a game changer. Once I started to see different types of journals and planners that were in demand, that's how my income changed. How I showed you, it was $18 one month, and then 9 months later, it was $4,000. Okay. Secret number two, how to publish a book without writing it. Now, I love AI, but this training is not about AI. This is about that low-hanging fruit, and we want to start small. So those of you that are here, maybe you thought that this would be about, like, I'm a book coach. I'm not a book coach. I'm just a book income stream coach. I really want to help you to reverse engineer that process so you can make any idea profitable. And in my experience, it has always been by starting small, right? When I hiked the Inca Trail, I ran the mountains in Utah to prepare for it. I didn't just go up to that 11,000-foot altitude and try to do it. Okay. Same principle applies here with books, is that we want to start small. And I love in the chat, you guys talked about journals and other things that were pretty easy to come up with. Okay. And so these are what we call, well, Amazon, Beth Bezos calls these low content books. These are notebooks, journals, diaries, planners, mill logs, logbooks, guest sign-in books. If you've ever been to a short-term rental and there was a sign-in book, chances are the host probably bought it off of Amazon and someone like me created it. Okay. So really understanding that we're building a book income stream by focusing on the low-hanging fruit. And the bonus, one of the bonuses at the end of this training I'm going to give you is an interior that has made me almost $40,000 just by understanding the ABC method and positioning it for the right customer. Okay. So it's very, very powerful. And Amazon actually recognizes this type of book. Think about Mead notebooks and going back to school. Everyone goes to Walmart and gets a notebook, or Target, but here you can actually customize and make your own. And Amazon has a whole department that they classify as low content books. Okay. So you don't have to be an author to be a publisher. You don't have to be an author to make money selling books. You don't have to be an author to have a behind the scenes income stream either. Okay. That is a real shift I had to make as I've written books myself and become an author that way. But you don't even have to be a bestseller to make money with books. I have some bestsellers, and I think Michael has experienced that, him and Krista as best-selling authors. This is a different process in terms of building something that generates customers and even income. Okay. So after my first year, this is where I decided I need to share this with people. And I came up with this training so they would know, like, and you can see here, these are 471 books at the time of this screenshot that made me money: notebooks, journals, planners, because you can reuse a lot of the interior. Okay. And so what I really focused on was those notebooks, journals, planners, workbooks, repurposing my existing content as an expert and putting it on Amazon because it was in demand. Okay. This is the low-hanging fruit. You can see this image. She's not using a ladder. She's focused on the very small stuff. Okay. And a lot of you have expertise that could be repurposed without, going and building a 60,000 word book. So that is an important aspect. Any questions on that section before I go into kind of the hierarchy? I'd love to know, like, what your thoughts are, anything coming to your mind about, oh, this is easier than I thought, or I have an idea already that could be a notebook or journal. Okay. Drop a one if you have ideas that you're like, okay, I see the possibility here I can certainly repurpose something and either increase my authority or be able to publish something that can make money. Okay.
Jenny, I've got a question for you if I could
Yeah.
pop in, not mess up your
Yeah.
presentation. So one of the things, my first book that I wrote was called The Art of Forgetting. And when I was speaking with a publishing house about it, they had said, well, could you dial us in to be specific? So like have the art of forgetting for sales and the art of forgetting for relationships and the art of forgetting for business or all those different elements. And the reason I'm hearkening back to that now is because kind of like what you just said about a journal, I mean, literally, you could just change the title of it in very few words in the inner content of it and make, hey, this is a journal for writers. This is a journal for artists. This is a journal for whatever, where you haven't even really recreated the inside. You just made it attractive to a different audience potentially. Is that kind of what you're saying there? That,
Yes, exactly.
yeah,
And
that's awesome.
Jane asked, 400 books, did you create all those? Yeah, Jane, I created one, and then since you own the copyright because you created it, you can repurpose it over and over and over again. And so what's happening here is we're finding different markets where maybe there is a type of prompt journal for a man to become better in his leadership, but maybe there's a way we can just tweak it and edit it for the female entrepreneur. So
Mhm.
once you have the bones of an interior, you can do it over and over and over again. So I even think about people that have courses or programs and they have PDFs that they give, and they're no one sees the light of day, no one sees the light of day to them unless someone pays for them. And so there's a lot of content that is behind a paywall that could be serving a lot of people in this way. And so as Michael mentioned, the only difference that we would do once you have an interior, we just do the market research, the ABC method, to make sure there's some type of demand for it. And the reason why I have 500 books now at the time of this call. Um, I published 200 books in 30 days because I didn't know what I was doing. Okay. And so some of those never made me money, but I've made so many mistakes as a self publisher. But that's why I teach it now, to save people from that. Okay. But I have a consistent 130 books that make me money almost every single day. Okay. And this is the cool thing, is that each of them become their own income stream. And so it's not really about having always a bestseller, but like, let's have a collection of books. And so what's also really interesting for those of you that are an author, or Michael talked about having a different type of book, a lot of people will get a notebook anyways with these business books and they'll take notes in it. Why not create the companion to that and then have two assets that make money? Okay. So it's a really, really powerful way to think about self-publishing as you are solving problems in a faster way. Okay.
I
Fire
want to
hose. Yes, Annie.
Yeah, and I just want to add one other little piece in this. If anyone ever out there has done what's called split testing, where you just test a different title of a page, or you could change, just changing one word of the title can make that sell to a different audience even. And so as you think about this, like, man, I'm jumping on the bandwagon with what you're talking about, Jenny, because you could literally make all these little variations on the external packaging that makes something interesting to someone else and have multiple numbers of that book, even though the content may be very much the same. That's really brilliant.
Yeah, and not to be too nerdy, but just for 1 second, because Michael
Mhm.
said the word split testing, that's when you see what does better between A and B. That's literally all that is. And so with Amazon ads, we can actually see if a cover is good. And so it opens up the world to be like, why isn't my book selling? When we turn on ads, if we're not getting clicks, that means the customer's not touching the book in the bookstore. And so you can literally update a cover when you run ads and it doesn't change anything about your book. And it's been fun to coach people where they were married to a cover, but the customer wasn't really into it. They changed the cover and then it started selling. So it's really neat to be in a place where you have the data, because data doesn't lie, right? Data doesn't lie, and people search for things every single day. And so thinking about existing content that you have and going and doing the ABC method can really be mind-blowing to see, you know what? You might have a huge customer base on Amazon wanting to get out. Krista's raising her hand. You don't have to raise your hand.
Okay, so I'm sure I have many questions. I don't want to get you off track, but it feels a little on point here. Um, if you're doing a collection or a series like you're talking about, where it's kind of the same theme but for different audiences, um, is it important to have a look or a brand that looks like it's a collection, Or could each cover be completely different? Does it need to be viewed as a collection?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. So as you kind of get into self-publishing, you'll learn a really unique aspect is that you don't have to use your name on Amazon if you don't want to. If you use the pen name Infinite List, Amazon will start ranking that in SEO on Google. Okay. So think about you guys that have existing businesses that you want more SEO traffic. When I put my name, just when I did a Jenny Hansen Lane, it was the first one that popped up on Google, and I have tons of SEO, and Amazon outranked all 600 of my YouTube videos. Okay. So it's a really powerful game. So when we talk about branding our books, we just want to think about the customer avatar and what they're attracted to build out a library. Now, if you have a book that you're like, this does really good for this type of avatar, I want to try a different avatar because I did the ABC method, you can literally publish it under a different pen name, but it can have a really similar interior and a little bit different of a cover. And so hopefully that answers your question. Branding can get really intricate, but then also very simple. When something's selling, you can build complement books. We have some students that will do like mindset books that are her branding's pink. So they're all different type of shades of pink, but they all kind of work together. And Amazon will start suggesting your books together. And the cool thing is Amazon knows, well, this is good and bad. Amazon knows more about us than we do, our buying habits. And so once you establish authority on Amazon, every time you release something under that pen name, it emails the customer base. Okay. And that's like heavenly for us that like forget to send an email out for something, just to have Beth Bezos sending an email on our behalf. Like it feels like a power move kind of. So does that answer your question, Krista? Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, I missed that. Titles and copy. Okay. So this is the hierarchy that can really help you when you're thinking about those low-hanging fruit. That notebooks and blank journals, if you guys are business owners and maybe you have a course or program, there's nothing better than like putting your brand or your logo on that and then including that as part of your coaching program where everyone's in unified a community for a certain asset. That's a really powerful way to do that. A disclaimer here is that I created Six Figures without my email list. Okay. So for those of you that are like, oh, I could never do this, it doesn't matter how big your list is because you're tapping into 90 million monthly buyers on Amazon. Okay. And so if you do have an email list, I'm getting ready to launch some things to my email list. I'm really excited to see how that will go because not only will Amazon has all my customers' data, I have their email information too. But truly, when you think about it, you can get more complex. And as you make more sales, you think about different ways to serve the customer. So this hierarchy just shows the more value and features you put into it, the more profits you can make. And high content is those high written books. And so for people that have already written those and maybe they didn't do as well, you can always go back and do the ABC method on your book and see what you want to be known for, and you can change the keywords. So the beautiful thing about Amazon, like taxes, there's only certain things you can't change on Amazon, and that is the title, the subtitle, and the author name. Okay. So there's still descriptions and things like that that you can go back and fix to be able to rev up more revenue. And then there's also ads. Okay. Any questions on this hierarchy here? Or questions that are coming to your mind about the ecosystem of Amazon?
Can you just describe the difference between a workbook and an activity book or planner, like how much content difference that might be?
Yeah, that's a good question. So activity book would be something like mazes and word searches, Sudokus, something that gives people, you see like adult coloring books, relaxation, activity books and coloring books kind of go synonymously. I will tell you though, I haven't seen very many business owners do activity books for their business, but we have a couple students that are starting that where they're doing like mindset activity books where the word searches are actually affirmations. And I'm like, that is so cool just to take it up a notch for people that want to stay busy and relax, but they're doing it in a way that like helps their brain. Workbooks would be when you're taking people through getting results from like A to Z or A to B in terms of your coaching program. So social media planners kind of help people workbook out their next 30 days. And so, but at the end of the day, Amazon doesn't really make a distinction between these. I've just seen from my own bookshelf, which is where all my books are published, that I'm able to add a little bit more customization to workbooks for that high end, like a coach or something like that. So activity books, a lot of my students do it for even kids because those are in demand too. So that's a great question. Okay, I don't want to fire hose you guys, but I just want you to know that books can be certainly profitable. Okay. The third step is how to become a bestseller and gain instant authority. And a lot of people that have been in book anthologies or have worked with traditional publisher, they have experienced this. And the secret to this is essentially getting the most sales in one category in 1 hour. That's all that it takes. Okay. And so being deliberate on that can make it very easy. Some categories are harder to establish authority in, but truly the game for Amazon publishing to make it profitable is less crowded categories, less competition, more room for you to establish your authority. Okay. Bonus secret, which we kind of talked about, business owners can rank their business on Amazon as well. And that's by using that author name. And this has been really powerful to people that aren't sure that they want to use their personal brand. They're not sure if they want to use their name, but they definitely have been getting their clients results. They can use their business name as their pen name. And you can have unlimited pen names on Amazon. You have one publishing account, and I tell people stick to 9, but you can really just kind of start when you figure out your avatar and who you want to serve. And it becomes very, very cool. Any questions on this secret? This is a pretty straightforward secret on how to become a bestseller and gain instant authority. Okay. So the second tip to this real quick is that if you, let's say you're a fitness trainer and you want to do a fitness tracker or a logbook or a meal book, I just bought one of those to keep track of my macros. When you have a book like that, because Amazon is a world marketplace, you can actually target a Peloton bike with your book. So if there is if your customer buys a certain type of something, you can target your book to anything on Amazon. Okay. I have a book that is 2 years old. I have a book that's 2 years old and it's had an add-on for 2 years that makes a sell every other day. And for those of you that run ads, you'll know that that's amazing to have an ad on for 2 years straight without it like getting fatigued or dying. And going back to what Michael said with the A/B testing, it's a good cover. And so it doesn't actually experience fatigue like a Facebook ad or something like that. So really, really powerful. Any questions on this part? I want to make sure that I'm covering.
Jen, I
Yes.
want to circle back to how we were using the ABC method to see if that category is searched for. Do you need to use those exact words in the title or in the subtitle, or you can just like it would know that it's a children's book, or like how do you need to
Yeah.
be?
Good. That's a really good question. So Amazon, their hierarchy for ranking keywords, the most important keyword is the title. They take that the most serious. And so if you were going to do abundance journal, you would want to make sure that it's in demand and that it's not, that the competition, the results are not over 10,000. So first is title, second is subtitle, third is the author name, fourth is the series, fifth is the back end keywords, and the sixth is the description. So you actually have 6 ways to communicate to Amazon's customer. And the way I like to explain this is like if I were to do a gratitude journal, there's over 60,000 on Amazon. So if I made a book and I only used gratitude journal one time, it would be like this. I'd be talking to Amazon like this, gratitude journal. Like no one can hear me. It's like a whisper. So you think about communicating things in your business. If I can use 15 different type of keywords that relate to gratitude journal, then Amazon's going to hear all my data points of like, oh, okay, Jenny actually offers this for the growth mindset person that wants to increase gratitude, or for the person that wants to overcome business or money mindset. And so being able to understand that you can use, because you have those 6 spots and you take advantage of that, that really increases your discoverability. So
So you
super
don't
good
need to
question.
title the book gratitude journal.
You
but the
could,
word should could be in there. Like if you
Yeah,
wanted,
if you I would use it somewhere because it's all about relevancy too, right? Like we don't want to just grab keywords and put them in our books because they're in demand. We actually want our book to match that so it keeps selling forever. And so some of the things that you can do, I have named books that I made up the name to my notebook and journal, and because it sold, because I covered all my other bases, the title of my book became a keyword. And then it started having its own searches. So once you put Infinite List as a author name and the book starts selling, whether it's a workbook or a planner, Infinite List now becomes a keyword on Amazon, and it comes up in the ABC method. So when people are like, how do I build an email list? And it comes up because it's associated, people can click on it. So it gets really, really powerful when we are leveraging what's already existing and then creating our spot there by our positioning, right? Like what we are an expert in. So that's really in the weeds, and I love that question. So I'm glad you asked it. And
I
I'm
do want-
sorry, I'm sorry if it's a fire hose, but it's so fun.
no, I think it's great. I'm gonna ask one more because hopefully it's relevant to other people in the room. Michael mentioned a book that he published years ago called The Art of Forgetting. And so it's not a journal, it's an actual book. Now it's not about forgetfulness. People aren't going to be searching forgetting. So what could he do to still maintain the title of the book that's already out, The Art of Forgetting, but let people know that it is about consciousness, mindfulness, letting go, forgiveness? Like what do you do to help fuel the words that people
Yeah,
would be searching for?
I love that question. I would see this like as a a revival tactic where Michael would want to go and do the ABC method on phrases he wants to be known for that book. And then the next thing that can happen is once he's coming up with a list of those, we can see the low competition aspect, but then also the next book he puts out, he can put in a series with The Art of Forgetting and then tie them together. So as you do your second book and you have a little bit more keyword heavy research, Amazon will start finding the books associated to your pen name, and it can pick that up. So because there's only 3 things that are permanent with a book, Michael can even go back into The Art of Forgiving and go in the keywords and see if they're really that relevant and plug those keywords in his listing into the ABC method and see if those are even the things that he wants to be aligned with. Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is, like, I always tell people to turn on ads because the data will speak for itself. So it'll let us know, does the cover need to be modified, or what are the people typing this? What are the people that are buying this? What else are they buying? And once you have that mind share, it gives you kind of a shift of like, oh, okay, I actually want to do some it's kind of like reverse engineer profitability of the book. So there's 3 different things. And maybe I can make a PDF for you guys on like book revival because it's something that people ask about a lot.
Good.
Well, and
I have a question. Okay. Oh,
is that Annie?
Yeah.
Okay, because I see your hand up. I was going to call in.
Oh, thank you. So I've been getting emails from something called Infinite List. Is that what that is?
No, that's my company.
Personally
Okay.
emailing you.
Okay.
You're on my
Okay.
email list is how you got invited.
Yeah, my brain just isn't getting all of this. It's
Oh.
like I typed earlier, fire hose. So
I got
I'm
it on my
definitely.
shirt too. So bring it up.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, Annie, that's a good question. I think with the fire hose, what it comes down to is just understanding that books can be profitable. We don't have to write them, and that there's enough abundance in the marketplace to publish something we're excited about. So
And
thank
I want
you.
to ask this also, piggybacking on what Krista had just put in there with you, Jenny, is that with my first book, The Art of Forgetting, the subtitle was called Your First Step Towards Lasting Change. It is a self-improvement book. And so I can totally see how changing the title and stuff could be helpful. And I'm wondering, because again, I cranked this out many years ago. I'm thinking that it would be good for me to do a second edition of it. And here's the other thing is it was also suggested by the publishing agency at the time that I look at creating it as a workbook. So as a workbook, that could also change it up a little bit, or I could have the main book and a workbook. So curious your thoughts on that as far as changing the name completely. And the other piece is because I used a hybrid publishing company, And so I'm thinking your recommendation would be that I take it over and self-publish as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, sometimes with you just have to read the contract with hybrid publishers to make sure you have enough control of it. Sometimes when you publish a book with them, it's not in your account. You get royalties from them, so you're not even able to run ads to it. So
Mhm.
I am a big proponent of self-publishing because it gives me that full control, and then I would hire out the parts that I needed help with. In terms of your book, though, I think sometimes we don't want to give it a complete makeover until we've given it a touch up, right? So
Mhm.
I would even wonder what type of data we would get from running ads to it existingly, because if the data tells us the cover's good, we don't want to touch it. On top of that, sometimes ads bring our book out of obscurity, and that could have been the only problem is that we didn't know that our category was really competitive. And so you publish in a category with Seth Godin or, Atomic Habits, it's going to be really hard for Amazon to say what makes your book better than this book that's been selling every day for 6 years.
Right.
And so that's the beauty of ads is that it takes all the data from your book and it goes to find the customer. I would test maybe $200 or $300 on ads first to see what data I got. But if I needed to rearrange stuff, you just need to make sure that you're not out of bounds with your publishing agreement to repurpose the stuff. But also too, like many of you will have ideas about books, and I'm writing a second book after publishing 500 journals, and the title of my book is not a keyword. It is a phrase I'm very passionate about. I bought the domain name, but I'm going to make it a keyword because I know enough about subtitles, back-end keywords, and ads. So for me, it's once you understand the process, then you can let go of that. But for those of you that are just getting started, it's so important to know that the ABC method will guide you into discoverability instead of just like obscurity. And I think that's a really important part because we can get really discouraged when we put a book out and then nothing happens to it. But understanding that there could be a market gap or demand is much more motivating. So good questions. Any other questions? Okay, so now you guys know secret number one is that books are profitable, right? We have the ABC method. Secret number two is that you don't have to write a book. It's simple, low content, whether it's journals, planners. We have some people that that's all they do is build journals and planners because it's really fun for them. The third secret is publishing in an area that has low competition to become a bestseller. Okay. And if you have an email list, that even makes it easier. So keep those things in mind. And it really brings up, once we have one book, it really brings up that question like, what if there was more? What if there was more to learn or more to do? Annie said this was a fire hose. It definitely is because the ecosystem of Amazon has so much potential, but there is just so much to it because it has 90 monthly buyers on it. It's one of the biggest platforms in the United States and has 7 different countries that it serves to. So that really brings us to that idea of like, how can we leverage this to buy back our time? How can we leverage the system to bring us more behind the scenes income? Okay. So I told you at the beginning transparently that I had options, and I'd love to know in the chat if you guys would like to see options for this. There's obviously you can do things yourself. With the ABC method, you could spend all day writing a list of things that are in demand. It might take you longer. You might not have me like fire hosing you. That might be a good thing. You'll eventually see results. If you don't give up at anything, you will eventually see results. Okay. You are doing it by yourself. Option B is investing in yourself, which allows you to collapse time in a group setting, learn from someone that's published 500 books, and experience more time freedom by having a framework to follow. So if you guys could choose, drop in the chat if you choose option A or option B. If you have any questions, I want to know. B, yes. Jean says B. Anybody now? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Michael says B. Okay. Let's dive into what this looks like. Okay. Obviously, most of you that are chiming in, I appreciate your interaction. Gaynell says B. Okay. Choosing A or B. We really have that chance to decide, do I want to do this alone? Do I want to do more? Okay. This is the book income stream machine. This is a self-paced program. And this is essentially the A to Z. This is everything that I've learned over the past 2 years of self-publishing. And I want to break it down for you so you truly understand the opportunity of being able to self-publish. And Krista and Michael, jump in when you feel like you need to, because you guys have both had experiences with not being, publishing yourself. Okay. So phase one of this program is where we validate and verified funds. This is essentially the ABC method. I don't want to say steroids, but it's intensified. Okay. We go through how many searches you actually need, what to avoid, what type of keywords you want to place in your book. I teach you the waterfall method where we make sure we're covering all the bases so your book talks to Amazon in a way where it's going to be seen. This is the module for this. It's about 15 lessons. It's self-paced, so you can do it as you want. But it is truly the crux of book profitability, understanding what to do and what not to do after, I've published 500 books. Phase two is really fun because it's where we start talking about what to do to make a book profitable. And we build an ecosystem of bankable books. You could see in the training that Michael naturally went to that, like, oh, I have this book. What would complement that? That is a strategy that works really well on Amazon because when you have an ecosystem, it establishes you as an authority. And every time you release something new, the customers are excited for it. Okay. So this actually has lots of different types of processes in here. We have a trademark attorney that comes in and advocates for us to teach us about AI and how to stay safe with it. And it really is a really cool program to be able to see the steps to create a book. We have even a checklist where you make sure you cover all 9 steps before your book goes on Amazon. Okay. Phase 3 is the publish, promote, profit, and prosper. And this is where we actually learn about the ecosystem of uploading the book and how to position it. We've talked a little bit about positioning today. And so this would be a magnification of that to make sure that you're finding those market gaps for your books. And then essentially ads. I don't really know anybody else that coaches on Amazon ads. And I feel bad for every person that publishes a book that doesn't turn on ads because the data that Amazon gives you, I'm shocked. I'm shocked because Jeff Bezos loves his customers. He loves us. He protects that customer stuff. But when you pay to play, Amazon will tell you what the customer's typing in. And that is one step better than the ABC method because it's in your account and you're the only one getting that information. Okay. So we cover that in phase 3. We talk about organic marketing, book review campaigns, how to get those sales organically. We talk about setting up QR codes so we can get leads from this. So we are establishing authority, but then we're also finding customers on the biggest buying platform. Okay. So this entire program is valued at $4,997. And I'm throwing in a bonus for Facebook community access. This is where there's 150 of us in here publishing, chatting, getting ideas with each other. And so this bonus is $1,497. And it is truly so powerful to not do it alone. This is valued at $6,494. Do you remember at the beginning of this training when I showed you me as a new mom? This is my little boy, my oldest biological child on the right. And this is his little brother. This past summer, they made $535 with coloring books. Okay. When Krista asked, like, what's the difference between activity books and coloring books or activity books? We created books to help them stay quiet. And they helped me do it. They told me, oh, this would keep me quiet. Anyways, this has been incredible for my family to learn self-publishing. And so when I share this, a lot of people are like, oh my goodness, I could teach my kids how to build a book income stream. And so this is my kids with their first profit. I couldn't convince them to put it back into their books. They bought a Nintendo Switch with it. And now when my kids ask for money and I tell them they need to earn it, they say, let's go make books. And so this is a 7 and 8-year-old at the time of this photo, but to be able to see that even children is something that children can do once you learn the skill set is mind blowing. Okay. So self-publishing, it has changed my little family's mind about, and actually you think about it, we have grandparents that never publish stuff. 97% of the United States has it on their bucket list to publish a book, but only 3% do it. And for the last 40 years, you had to get permission from somebody, right? C.S. Lewis was turned down 27 times. Dr. Seuss has been turned down. Stephen King has been turned down. But ever since 1996, when Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing has been out, you don't need anyone's permission. Okay, so that's something in our family, our culture, you don't need permission to publish. You have access to it. Okay. And so that is our second bonus is KDP for Kids. This is essentially We have modules on turning your kids' artwork into patterns, pen names for kids. This is totally inspired off of my journey in the Inca Trail, where like sometimes as moms, we buy courses and we wait for our kids to go to bed to go through it, or we wait till we, eat dinner with our spouse. This is something that we do as an entire family and we talk about it. Okay. Krista says, my mom self-published her book, Her Mom's Diary, being a dancer in the 1930s. Yeah, books really do carry a legacy for us. And so being able to know the skill set, to have a repeated skill set to get something out is part of our First Amendment right? Like that freedom to be able to do it is really powerful. And Amazon actually really supports that, which I love. So I'm glad Krista shared that. KDP for Kids is valued at $497. So we've got the complete A to Z program, $4,997. We've got the community access, $1497. We have KDP for Kids, which is $497. And you may experience this from this training. There was enough for you guys to go out and start getting those penny royalties. I do not discount that that is a really big deal, right? And you can do it with little to no authority in your niche, and you'll spend a lot of time trying to figure it out, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Some of you are already working 9-to-5 jobs and you are figuring out how to beat inflation, and it's hard to feel like you have the time freedom because you have to work for your income. Okay. This is a totally separate opportunity where you get to set the price of your profits of every book. The most expensive book you can have on Amazon is $250. I just bought a book from a coach on Amazon for $150, and it totally inspired me. He's a self-publisher. Like, oh, his entire course is in here. And instead of paying $497, I bought the book for $150. Okay. So very, very powerful. After learning self-publishing, you'll be recognizable and oftentimes instant authority. After I published my first book, it was the same time Alex Hormozy and Amy Porterfield were publishing, and I beat them out for like 4 hours. And I can't tell you, embarrassingly, how people treat me different because of that. And so there's a reason people say don't judge a book by its cover. It's because people do it. We do care about what things look like, and being able to establish authority, even as Michael talks about, being able to establish authority with a book, even if the book wasn't making tons of money every day, it still changed the way people viewed him. And that is something that you have more control over when you publish. Okay. Essentially, you decide how you spend your time, right? When you're able to build something behind the scenes. This is a screenshot of just a couple of my students that got started in different ways. Some of these books have hit #1 bestseller. Some of these have made them $1,000 a month. Okay. And so we had a photographer. Her name was Kim. She said, "This has me so excited. It's small. I'm thrilled. No ads yet, just my Facebook post. I'm so glad I jumped on board. $91 in 21 days without answering emails or getting on Zoom calls." This was really actually exciting for her because she had never made money online before. And then she went on with her husband and created a recipe book because they have a biracial, they have a big multicultural family. So she said, check this out. Our recipe book is #1 release in Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago travel. Okay. And so Amazon does actually print in hardcover and color. Okay. This was last night, Becky. I'm on my second journal. My first journal last month was sold for $7.49, and I sold 57 copies last month. She messaged me because she had a medical emergency after she did this. And she said, "Thank you for creating this course. Without you, I would not have had additional source of income to help support me, especially during this difficult time." So we don't plan for medical emergencies, right? That is part of just being mortal, being alive. But being able to set systems up in your business that don't require you to show up on a Zoom call. I love Zoom calls, but it is a blessing to diversify your ideas into book form. Okay. So this was just really powerful for me to see that during this medical emergency, that she was able to still make a couple $100 being away from her computer. Okay, so the third bonus that we're throwing in, this is called the 72-hour publisher. This is a book blueprint where I give you everything that you need to get a book out within 72 hours. This is called 72 hours because that's about, Amazon says, the minimum it takes to review and accept and publish your book. But I give you cover templates, interior templates, and what to write in your book description. And this is valued at $797. Okay, so we have the full A to Z program that's $997, the community access for $1497, KDP for Kids valued at $497, 72-hour publisher $797. Our total value brings us to $7,788. One of our coaches, Marcy, she said, "Jenny, help me turn my coaching program into a book." Her ad strategy helped me understand my customers better and my books create more authority and solve my clients' problems. Now I help my 4 daughters publish. Her daughter just did a self-care journal. Um, for Michael, this is really interesting. She wrote a book with a traditional publisher that put it in their account and she gets royalties, but she doesn't see anything that she doesn't see any sales or anything like that. In her contract, she owns the copyright to it. And so what she did, she took that book and redid it and turned it into a workbook and published it under her account and where she can run ads to it. And it's not named the same thing. And she just notes inside there, you can see she's holding her original book as a photo. She doesn't even see where these sales come from for the original book, but the Wake Up and Show Up workbook she does have access to. Okay. So now she has the power to self-publish over and over and over again and change things instead of emailing someone, waiting for someone to get back to you. If you guys haven't ever worked with a traditional publisher, that didn't give you a headache. But if you have, then you know that lose your power sometimes when you outsource certain of those things. Okay.
Yeah.
So bonus. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to jump in on that too, to say one of the other challenges, and you and I have talked about this, is I used a hybrid publishing company where it's semi, it's not the big publishing house, but what happened for my book, and we published in 2020, I got international bestseller status. And a couple of years later, I'm talking to someone. This is my second book, Zero to Launch Podcast Accelerator. And I'm talking to someone on one of my courses. And they're going, oh, I just went to find your book in Amazon and I can't find it anywhere. I'm like, well, that's weird. And so I started looking at Amazon. It was gone, totally disappeared. So it took me over a month to reach back out to this publisher, this independent publishing place, have them republish it, get it fixed. I don't know what went wrong. It was totally out of my hands. So this is to speak to what you're talking about of ownership. I didn't even know it was missing. They must have dropped the ball somewhere. And so now they put it back up, but all the reviews are gone. My ranking was gone. And now it shows published in February of November 2023. I'm like, that's a crock. What happened to my old stuff? All because it was in their hands and not my own. So I'm really miffed about that.
That's painful.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you don't know there's another way, right? Like at the
Right.
time, that's all the information you had is that, oh, you don't have the skill set to do this. We'll take care of it for you. And it's always just a risk, right? And I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing that story because it is hard to get reviews. Reviews, they've done studies, just surveys with people, and like reviews is not something that people actually do proactively.
Right.
You have to ask people and ask people. And there's nothing wrong with that if they don't mind it, but it can be really hard. So I appreciate you sharing that because being able to have those assets that you own yourself matter. And even in the terms and conditions, after you pass away, you can actually pass on your book income stream to your family if you put it. And so it's like this income stream can change other people's lives later on too. And I talk about this in my coaching program. You can actually sell your book account. So if you guys were like, I have a lot of ideas, they don't match my business, you can literally, once you start making a couple $1,000s a month, you can have a valuation and you can sell your book account for 25x what you built it for. So I know people that have sold their account for 820,000. I know a girl in Spain, she just does it every 2 years. She just sold hers for 125,000. And so we talk about that in the program because I didn't know that. So I started publishing Jenny Hansen Lane solely in that account. And now I wouldn't really want to sell my brand name. So just being able to understand that there's so much to this is nice that you don't have to do it alone. Okay. So I appreciate that feedback, Michael. The fourth bonus that we have is the AI incubator. And this is where my trademark and copyright attorney comes in. We have replays from him. He does masterclass for us, but we talk about all legal usage and automation for AI. Now, AI is really interesting because the way that we're using it in the program is for clip art and designs to customize and even book cover creation. This is not against Amazon terms and conditions. Actually, right now, they want to just know how much AI that you're using. And if you're an Amazon seller, Amazon actually has AI to help you write book descriptions. So it's not really going away. We lean into it because it helps us save time and automate. And this is valued at $997. And my attorney just told me yesterday that he has another class to help us trademark things that he's going to gift to us in this program. Michael asked about like the art of forgetting and how to add more. A strategy that Michael could do inside this program is understanding that he could come up with a phrase. Maybe it is the art of forgetting. The next book he puts out can be a series and you can actually trademark the series. And if anyone uses that phrase in a book, you can actually have Amazon remove them because you own it. It's kind of like Harry Potter or bullet journal or Twilight series, like you can actually really protect a brand. And that makes it really powerful when you don't have any competition because you're protecting your book. So sorry to get in the weeds. It's really cool stuff.
Love it.
So the full program of this again is $4,997. The community access is $14.97. The KDP for Kids is $4.97. The AI incubator is $9.97, and the 72-hour publisher is $7.97. We also have coaches that join this program. This is Sharon. She actually has this as her program, and so what we did is we got it and we made it more customer friendly, lead magnet wise, and repurposed it. And so she said, you know, I wanted to get my workbook in front of many people as possible. And I couldn't have done it without Jenny. It just makes sense for the process. Okay. So if you guys already have assets, all you need, the minimum you need to publish on Amazon is 42 pages to establish authority. When you think about it like that, it's like, oh, I could totally over deliver for 42 pages and establish authority. Okay. Christina said, Jenny taught me the exact framework and strategy I needed to hit successfully Amazon's #1 bestseller list. Highly recommend. I'm about to hit my first K month. And then 2 days later, she said, you know, my monthly goal was to reach $1,000. I'm happy to say I achieved my goal. I have been publishing for a few years, averaging $100 a month until last month. Last month was $489. Jenny teaches about keyword research and choosing categories. That was a huge deal for me. Okay, so this was her first month hitting $1,000 of behind the scenes income. So for those of you that are like, I just don't know if I'm going to want to put all the work into this, our bonus number 5 is actually the self-publishing Little Black Book. And I give you a list of designers, editors, cover creators, ghostwriters. So if you want to outsource components of this, you have that option. Okay. Really cool thing we just started adding is we include students. So if you're a copywriter and you join the program, you can actually be in this self-publisher. If you are a designer or you have an expertise that can help people through the book process, our students are now being included in this. And it's really cool to have that type of directory where you don't have to go to Fiverr and try to find someone overseas and you're not sure if they know the rules of KDP. That's a really important aspect, right? So this Little Black Book is valued at $497. And that brings our total value to $9,282. Another fun success story is Macy. She's on the swim team in high school as a freshman. She's on the varsity team. She makes $9 a day and she started with notebooks. So Jean asked you, Jenny, you published 400 books. It's things like this that people do judge a book by a cover. There's tons of kids, mine included. Mom, I want a shark notebook for back to school. There's lots of content in Canva online, or my son will draw a shark, we'll take a picture and we'll make his own notebook. Okay. I can't tell you how emotional it has made me to have my kids go to school with their own artwork in their backpack on their books and to even donate these books to kids at school that don't have notebooks. Okay. It is really, really powerful. Lindsay joined the program. She says her kids actually published 5 days into the book income stream. We have 3 published items. So this is KDB for Kids. Her daughter did a unicorn. We made a whole pattern out of it. And it was like their summer thing, which was really, really cool to establish. Okay. So bonus 6 is one of my favorites. It's the time saving template vault. You can see here I have weekly planners, undated stuff. And this allows you to, this is over 70 templates. I think right now it's at 75. The past 2 years of publishing, I give you every single template I have ever published that can be customizable. Okay. So this in itself is worth its weight in gold, that you don't have to go out and try to figure out what to do or what to make. This is valued at $997. And this has a Canva link that you just go and customize stuff yourself. So it's important for me that I'm able to work these in for all industries, and I do drop these at least monthly, and they are all customizable. So if you guys are experts or you're building an email list and you get information back from your list about what would help them on their path, I'm pretty sure we have a template that can help you get a book out for them. Okay. We even have a doctor that joined our program. She's a sleep doctor. She says, I finally released my sleep tracker journal and it's labeled a top new release. I'm excited about it. Thanks, Jenny, for your mentorship and encouragement. Okay, so this is actually really a mind shift for me to see that even doctors that are in an office all day, they want behind the scenes income too, and they have a way to establish authority too. So if there are those of you that are working a 9 to 5, but you are passionate and you're an expert about something, there is probably some type of demand for what you're interested in. Okay, this total value today is $10,279. And I just want you to think about if all this did for you was free up your time to do what you want to do, would it be more worth it, right? To be able to go to an Italian mastermind in Italy would it be worth it, right? To be able to build those things in your business that serve you instead of you serving them. Drop a 1 if you had more time. If all this did would free up your time, would it be worth it? Drop a yes, drop a 1 if you think it would be worth it. Michael knows. He knows the power of a book.
Mhm.
Mina says yes. Krista says yes. Jane says yes. Awesome. Okay. So this is really about being able to change your life with more time freedom. Misha says yes. Okay. Thank you guys. I'm so glad that you're chatting. You're here. Okay. This is really about freeing up your time to be able to do more and to be able to have more control over that path for yourself. We have even an older woman, Cindy, that loved publishing. She just sold her 100th book. And she says, working with Jenny has been a game changer for my KDP journey. She's not just a book ads expert, but a marketing genius at creating innovation business building strategies. She's given me real edge in elevating my brand and increasing my income stream. If you want to thrive with a book income stream, work with Jenny. So she did point out something. I think a lot of my success comes from my marketing background. I'm obsessed with marketing. And so working with you, if that's not a strong suit, I love to support you in that way where that synergy of how that works with Amazon. There's a lot of people that overlook that, and you do so much better with it. Lindsay published a book from her actual program, repurposed her content. She has already been $1 million a year business owner. And so to see her come in this program was really cool. She says, this program has been mind blowing. I've already been down the publishing and best-selling road before, but Jenny's methodology took it to a whole new level. After talking about writing my next book for 2 years, this program got me results in just 3 weeks. During this 3 weeks, I not only identified my golden goose niche, that's the ABC intensive, but accomplished the incredible feat of writing a 25,000 word book. The actual book writing only took me 1 week using Jenny's strategies. Okay. And the book part, this isn't just a book, it's an evergreen profit source that will also generate valuable leads for my business. Best investment ever. Okay. Yeah. Cynthia says yes. Perfect. Okay. So we have people that make multiple 7 figures that decided to learn self-publishing so they could save money every time they publish. This is Lauren Golden. This is her first book. She hired a publisher for $10,000. And then she went back to them and said, I want to do a journal. And they said, okay, it's $5,000. And so she's like, Jenny, can you help me do this? I'm like, yes, join this program, learn to do it yourself. And then she got 4 more books out, or 3 more books out. 4. Yes. Okay. So every time she publishes, she saves money because she has a skill set. And a lot of time we think about the investment that we have to put into ourselves, right? And how it can be undaunting or it can feel scary. But here, like, to see this mindset of a 7-figure business owner, that it was worth the skill set, just like learning how to email, just like building a funnel really quick, the things a business owner likes to have power over. It was cool to see that she's able to have that skill set, that she doesn't have to pay someone $10,000 or $500 every time she has an update. Okay. And so truly, this is not something that's going to happen overnight, right? It's a little bit of things overnight that add up. And within a year's time, if you're consistent, it's very, very powerful. Okay. And people always say like, oh, you're 1 book away, but I'm like, why limit yourself? When you learn to self-publish, you can have many books. And once a book starts selling, you lean in to that area and I teach you how to just go and own that whole entire niche. Okay. So the value today is $10,279, but I'm not going to charge that because this is too valuable. It needs to be accessible to everybody. So today's price is $997. I'll have Michael or Krista drop the link in the chat for those of you that are ready. And I want to know in the chat when you join, I want to be able to celebrate you. So please, please, please say you're in, because I want to know. And I want to share something that we're releasing that's new that you guys will love. This is, we have a Q&A call for Amazon influencer marketing. At the beginning of this call, I talked about Amazon as an ecosystem, that there's 90 million monthly buyers. Okay. People actually, have you guys heard of QVC? It was a big deal when I was little, right? I'm aging myself and I'm okay with that. I know I'm in good company. Amazon started following QVC's framework for video sales. And now they have Amazon influencers where you can actually give your influencer the book that you made and they will do a video on it. And if the influencer, if anyone watches their video and then buys, they get a portion of the book sales and you get the same amount of royalties. So we have a Q&A call for Amazon influencers. If you're an influencer, then this is also really powerful. I teach you book review campaigns, keyword research tools that I use to help me get through the clutter. I teach you different things for making your sales page for your book look like a regular sales page, and then tutorials in Canva for those of you that are like new at maybe book creation. We have all these extra bonuses that value $19.97. But again, we're not charging that today. This is $9.97. Michael dropped the link in the chat. And this is lifetime access, you guys. And I can't stay away from my students because it is so fun to support them once they get going, that it's really a living, breathing type of program. And so you can actually get out your phone here. This is a QR code that sends you to the same link that Michael dropped. And we even have 0 down PayPal credit. The asterisks are there because it's dependent on your personal situation, your relationship with PayPal. But we also have a link for the Klarna Affirm extended payments, which is accessible through the link that Michael dropped, as well as this. For those of you that are like on the fence or maybe not sure, I have a very special bonus here. This is for until next Wednesday when the doors close. I'm going to do a live coaching. So like questions that Krista and Michael asked, like it's the same type of thing. This is the podcast video to book formula. I'm going to walk you through how to repurpose a YouTube video or a podcast episode into book format where you don't have to outsource. You don't have to hire somebody else. You can have your message there. Now, this is not like overnight upload. I want you to be proud of it, but I'm going to show you the processes that you can do yourself. So if you were a podcaster or a course creator or a YouTube content creator, you could start thinking, okay, I'm going to actually make a book, but I'm going to do it in video form because I'm so good at video and I'm going to repurpose that. Okay. So this is going to be a live call. It's going to be next Friday for anyone that joins before the doors close, May 15th. And this is live. So when you get access to the portal this week, it will be empty, but you'll have a lot of bonuses inside of there. Okay. So again, this is just $9.97. And some of the questions, I want you guys to drop questions on maybe what is keeping you on the fence from joining the program, or your hesitancies in doing so we can really talk about that. And some of the questions people ask, like what type of book? Oh, can you guys drop the bonuses too, the links to the bonuses? Because that will cover what type of books. There's over 200, but I'm going to give you the PDF for 100 ideas. And you can see if that aligns with your business or any side hustle that you're pursuing. And people always ask me like, well, how do I start? It's the ABC method, right? It's researching the profitability. And what if we don't join the program at this time? I just started offering the self-study. Okay. And I have a misprint here. Instead of a 2-day intensive, we have the book podcast to video program. And so I've never offered that before until now. This is the lowest investment that it will ever be. And so if you feel like it's right for you, we would love to actually have you, because we work closely together in the community. And being able to learn this skill set is a game changer. Okay. My kids don't know that because this is all they know. But for us adults, where we always have that dream of publishing something, I actually was talking to a coach that helps people on this. And he says that people that get picked up by big traditional publishers like Oprah, these people had tons of books before they had a breakthrough. And so if that is a dream of yours, I would encourage you to take the next step to learn self-publishing to set you up for that later. That's something that I would always love to have a bigger audience or a bigger impact, but I would never take away the skill set of self-publishing because it has truly, truly, truly changed my life. So let me know what other questions that you guys have. Grab those freebies. I'm gifting them to you for being here. I appreciate your time and your energy being here. Even though I can't join you right now, we'll have to in the future. I've already published 2 books and I'm super excited about your templates and bonuses. Yeah, Misha, that's the power once you go back with the ABC method and really see the potential there. It gets really exciting to know that there's market gaps out there where you might have an expertise for something that's in demand. And I had a girl, she taught breath work, and that's a really big thing in demand right now, and no one's really publishing on it. So it's really fun to find like these little gold mines that are out there on Amazon, and people don't realize how accessible it truly is. And so this special pricing is only $9.97, and it looks like my QR code's kind of acting up. Our doors do close May 15th, and so I want you guys to be able to get in there and join while we still have these special bonuses. And I actually have something for the next 24 hours for those of you that are open to it. We have a time-saving designer coach bundle. And so what this is, it's 5 templates that are designed by a designer, but you will plug in your own branding. If you're a coach, you teach masterminds, you want something that really helps somebody get a result from A to B, but maybe you don't feel like you're that great of a designer. This bonus is available until tomorrow night at midnight or whenever. I'll set it 24 hours after you get the replay. Okay. Because I really want you guys to have this value. This is total value of $797. And this is also a Canva template that you'll go in and you'll just customize it and be able to publish over and over again. Okay. Yeah. What did Micah say? Huge gaps, and I paid way too much to a hybrid publisher before, like Michael. Yeah. I think that is a really big pain point that we don't always know the options out there, right? My slides are kind of messing up.
Yeah.
I'll stay here.
I-
And go ahead. Yeah, speak to that.
Well, I was going to jump in and say a couple things. One is I'm glad that I do, like you mentioned, that if you own the rights to your material, which is great. So I do have that arrangement with the hybrid publishing that I did. So I can, kind of retake it and do something differently. So I guess one, I have a question. Can I go back to a former hybrid publisher after I want to take it over and just say, hey, I want you to pull it down, have them remove what I have there? Is there any value in that, or is it better to just leave the books there? That'd be question one. And so let's do with that first, and then I'll dig to the second one.
The downside of Amazon publishing is once we put something on there, it's on there forever. If we ask someone to unpublish or we unpublish, it still populates in the SEO index. It just says out of print or not available. And so deciding if it makes sense, if it's tied to your name, for example, that's why understanding the pen names is so powerful. When I did practicing, if you go to Amazon, you type in Jenny Hansen Lane, you're going to find all these weird books because I didn't know that you could use pen names. And so being able to, I unpublish those, but they're still attached to my name. So that's just the consequence that I have to deal with. So if I could go back and the book still aligns with who I am as a business owner, I would leave it alone and I'd let people access it. But if you ask your traditional publisher and you do have copyright access to edit, I would maybe think about doing a version 2 or redoing the whole thing that makes it modernized for your new offer and your existing business.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. Question just popped up for me in the chat on one of the things on your book ideas link. I believe the discount code isn't working is the note I'm getting. So do you want to check that, Jenny?
Yeah, I'll plug that in real quick just to double check.
Let's see here too.
Michael, is that the same book, The Art of Forgetting, or do you have a different one?
It's the Zero to Launch Podcast Accelerator, my newer book that I would probably like to take back more control of that too, which leads me to another piece I was going to add on that. So this is the other downside. When I'm sitting here looking at your numbers and I'm going, yeah, I got a whopping $12 so far in royalty checks from them. I'm like, how much more could I be making if I was just doing this on my own? And which leads to the next question / statement. I want people who are on the fence about this to be thinking about this. I always look at everything in business as what is my return on investment? Okay. And so as an example, if I can spend $10 and know that I'm going to make back 15 and that 15 is true profit, well, guess what? I spent 10, but I made 15. It cost me 10 to make it. I've got $5 I can just pull away and put in my pocket, take that 10 and invest it again. Pull out another 5, keep putting that 10, rolling it over as an investment. And the reason I'm saying that is because this looks like it's one of those types of things. Like your program at $997, that's my investment, but I can use that over and over again, keep creating new books, new material, and turn this into a revenue stream that blows that out of the water as far as an ROI goes. And that leads me to another piece of it. You had shown a slide, and that one really piqued my interest, where you talked about your ad spend. And I think it showed something like 23,000 in ad spend, but you made over 100,000 in revenue, which leads me to a 2-piece question. And also I want to bring people's attention to this. Okay. And especially if you could find that slide again, that would be awesome. But the point of it is this, is that if you spent 23,000 in ads Heck, even if you only made 40,000 in profit, but that was 40,000 pure profit, it's not like you had to do anything more in the delivery of it. That's still phenomenal. And it looks like you made way more than that. To me, this, and just for everybody tuning in, if you know all the other work that I teach a lot about scaling your business. Scaling is when you can take money, put it in, pull money out. Look at that. Now, of those 132,000 in sales, are there any delivery costs in that, Jenny? Like out-of-pocket expenses?
Amazon takes their cut and they send me a check every 60 days.
Okay, so what's Amazon's cut? Let's say.
It depends on the book. The smallest book you can do, Amazon's printing and shipping is like $2.38.
Oh my goodness.
So
it's not-
what I have done, like a lot of my bestsellers are like hardcover prompted journals.
Mhm.
These are marketed to people that like if you want to tell your story with your kids or something like that. And so they're priced a little bit higher. And so having like $6 or $7 starting point for these type of books gives me the revenue to scale. And
Mhm.
so I've sold about $360,000 in book sales, but Amazon has paid me almost six figures. And that is with the
Yeah.
disclaimer that I never emailed a customer. I never went to the post office. I made the book one time.
Yeah, you didn't have to do anything. So even if, looking at that number that you had there at 132,000, even if Amazon took 50% of that, you still got $60,000 in income and you paid 23,000 in ads. I mean, you could rinse and repeat this over and over and over again. Like you had mentioned earlier, though, you could do have to caution if things burn out and maybe shift it up. But the point is, this is a money-making machine that
Yeah.
is just blowing me away. That's why I pinged Krista privately during this. I'm like, we need to do this. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to mention this because this is a real no-brainer.
And the really beautiful thing about this, if you are someone who pays to acquire a customer or you have ever run ads before, these numbers are not normal. My budget was, I told myself when I started, I'm only going to put in what I make for my books. And so I had to wait for the second month to have enough money to turn on ads. But the first month, it was $47 for the entire month for ads. And once a sale came in, I was like, okay, I'm going to put this back into it. And so this isn't something that I used my coaching program money to spend, you guys. This is all book income stream profits, putting it back into here because it was behind the scenes thing. Okay. And as I started scaling more, then I would outsource certain books if I didn't have time. But truly, what's crazy about this is people don't advertise on Amazon. It blows my mind for books. They don't, it's it's crazy. It's crazy because it's so accessible, and if you're a leading expert in an industry and someone else has a book and they're your competitor, I guarantee they're not running ads. So they're missing out on just being able to put a QR code in the back of the book and customers find you like, "Oh, I found you on Amazon. I saw your ad next to this book." You can target anything on Amazon. Anything. That's why it's crazy.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say crazy. I need to say it's accessible. That's what makes it so powerful.
Yeah. I am testing the coupon on your page right now because it looks like, and I think I see what people are saying was the issue with it, is that it's showing, it's marking off the 197, but it's leaving it in the total due.
So we need to make it 100% off. Okay, refresh that.
Okay.
Make sure I might not have hit save when I went and did that homework. Books just excite me. Let's
Yeah.
see.
So if anybody who's trying to get this right now, just you can refresh the page and we will get it working.
Let me hit save twice. I think the other one's working fine too. So, okay, mine says 0. So hopefully
Okay,
it's 0 for your guys too.
Page is still refreshing. But how is
Okay.
this landing for everybody? I'm just curious, a quick check-in. I mean, this has just made so much sense to me today. And Chris and I are excited about trying. I know she's been working on creating a journal. She loves journaling. We have so many journals here that she goes through them regularly. So she's going to create a journal. I'm realizing, oh, I could take my Art of Forgetting and create a workbook on that. I can take the Zero to Launch Podcast Accelerator and create a workbook. And I'm like, I've been thinking about creating like Chris and I are very much into mindset and motivation and inspiration, and we could create a calendar. I mean, there's so much that you could do. It really is the sky's the limit here. So I'm excited to dig into this and create this extra revenue stream.
Yeah. I mean, even I saw market gaps on the Marketer's Cruise, right? We got a huge book, but nowhere to really take notes that well about people. It wasn't that organized. Like you could probably do a Podcaster's Cruise notebook, and that's all it has on it is the logo. And people would get more out of having a notebook they walk around with than a huge directory. So I just think
Right.
there's so much ways for us to incorporate our brand into books. And when we talk about like the world of investing too, me and my husband are talking about that, and we're like, books just don't go away. Like you have a book, Think and Grow Rich is like almost 100 years old and it still sells one of the most every day. And so being able to put your idea out there, it gets really, really powerful.
Yeah.
So
It does work now, by the way. It's sitting there.
hey, sorry
It's
about that.
here.
Thanks for
No
being
worries.
patient.
I am getting mine right now. Cool. So I highly recommend anybody, if you didn't already jump in. The offer is good. You said until the 15th. So basically 6 days. And if you're on the fence, I would definitely, I mean, it's such a no-brainer that let me ask you this question, because one of the things that, and it's interesting, you go the 72-hour book deal. I used to, my podcasting course that's now called Zero to Launch Podcast Accelerator. When I first created it, it was zero to launch in 14 days, because it took me 14 days from when I decided to launch a podcast and I had my first show up and running. And because that's kind of the speed at which you can do it. I think, like you're saying with this stuff, what do you think is the fastest speed someone could get to revenue? 2 months, 3 months?
Well, I showed a slide with Becky who had a
Mhm.
medical emergency. She published a book and then she had a stroke
Mm,
and she made $400 in a month.
wow.
So it was something where she did her market research. It was a beautiful cover and it took off. So it really kind of depends. Some people have made $100 in their first. It just depends on, I think, the commitment. Because people ask me, Jenny, how did you sell 6 figures so fast? And in 2022, it was all I focused on. It was like building this behind the scenes so it would serve me now. And now every month, sometimes I forget that I get a check from Amazon and it covers at least one of our mortgages and almost 2 of our rental properties. And so it's a really big deal just to have that where I'm like, oh, I made this book 2 years ago. I made these books 2 years ago. And
Yeah.
none of my courses that I made 2 years ago make me $4,000 every month now.
Yeah.
And the courses were way more work. The videos were way more work. I have to pay for it to be hosted still. I have to pay for my email list to be hosted. I love email lists. I'm not knocking those. But what I'm saying is this is truly the closest type of passive behind the scenes thing that I've seen where I do the work up front once and then I am able to benefit from it each month over and over.
Over and over and over again. That's one of the things I'm sitting here looking at. Looks like I'm rummaging through stuff, but I'm actually looking for something specific to share with y'all. And my desk is just
What are you looking
such.
for? Because I probably put it on the floor.
You probably did. Trista comes in and moves my stuff. Who moved my
Make it presentable.
cheese? Oh, here it is. This is what I was looking for. So this is an example of it. So some of you who, especially, the folks who've been following me for a while will know this, that I am a former professional actor. And this is a check that I got from NBC Universal. And I get
Whoop.
these every 3 months. And this is from, which one is this one from? Let's see here. This one is from For Love of the Game with Kevin Costner. So this is a SAG after a residual check. So as a SAG actor, I get checks every 3 months, 4 times a year from film work I did 25 years ago. I'm still getting royalties from both For Love of the Game and The Patriot with Mel Gibson. And they're not as big as they were initially. They've kind of dwindled over time because it's based on where is this video being watched on live streamed or whatever, or people buying the DVD. But 25 years later, I'm still making money on movie work I did all those years ago. So books are another great way to do that. Create a residual income, put out that content. And with your guidance, Jenny, I think this is just you've made it such an easy way that got me thinking outside the box. I'm like, cool, I want to create a calendar because I love using calendars that I see on a wall that are motivational and inspirational. I love using planners, things like that. I mean, I could start creating those and, like you said, brand it as well for a lot of the business stuff. So I'm really stoked to take this on.
Yeah, I think we've all been there where we have purchased a planner and we wish we could change something about it. We're like, oh, I didn't even use that page.
Yeah.
Like understanding that you have the power to publish what you want. You're like, oh, I've done that with fitness trackers. I did it for myself. And then 2 months later, I got a royalty check and I was like, people bought the thing I bought that I made for myself. And so that's actually kind of validating because there are so many problems in the world that we actually have solutions for ourselves that a lot of times it helps other people. That's the reason we're in business is that we've solved some type of problem and we're trying to help other people from the pain, and books do that every single day. And I will tell you, every single year I buy a different planner because I haven't found what I love and I'm on the brink of like, maybe it's just time that I create it and make it what I want and put my brand on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And man, and this is the other piece too. And I don't know what your recommendation on pricing and stuff is, but I'm curious about that as well. But some people may know who Michael Hyatt is. He put out this thing, it's called the Focus Planner. And I think when I purchased that, it was like $45 or $50 for just a hardback planner, but they go for more because they really are that helpful, that valuable in keeping you on track with stuff. And like you said, there are some things I'm like, well, I would have done this a little differently or that differently, but maybe it's time to create my own. So I'm stoked. I'm feeling so many ideas stirring in this. I know Chris and I want to get going. We're getting ready to head to Italy in less than 10 days now. So we'll have to wait until we get back. But Chris, I'm even thinking, I could be laying out some planning while I'm in Italy, sitting poolside, going, here's some ideas for my next book. So I love this. Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what you guys more ideas after the fact that you go through these experiences. You're going to be at your mastermind, and now with this new knowledge, you're going to be like, "Oh, how cool would this be? A customized mastermind journal for the days that we're here, and nobody has it but the people who have joined the program, right?" So, I like that Michael said that he knew someone of authority that put a brand out that could charge more because it got results. It's the
Mhm.
same thing with each of you guys that run a business, that you're able to price yourself above the competition and appear as a premium brand
Yeah.
instead of just something else at the bottom of the barrel. And so being able to establish authority in that way is kind of a no-brainer. You don't have to wait for Oprah Winfrey to pick up your book. It's like, I know what I'm talking about and I can help people.
Yeah.
So I really want people to take advantage of the designer bundle that expires in 24 hours after this replay, and then join us to have the live coaching. If you join before Wednesday, you're going to be able to do the live coaching with us next week. And I don't stop until we're done. So on that call next Friday, if you are like, Jenny, I want help with keyword research, I'm going to help you do it. We're going to get on and we're going to go through it. And you're going to have a very clear direction of what you want to publish. And Michael said, like, there's a couple ideas that are coming to his mind. You'll come to that call with ideas and we'll pick that one thing that's going to make a difference and we'll start there. But the whole idea is that once you learn the skill set of self-publishing, it's like sending one email that brings you in money. Like once you experience that, you really start thinking about the customer and how to serve people, because being able to, when you make more money, you can impact more people. And so this is just another layer of that. So please don't sleep on this opportunity because we would love to have you. And you'll probably see this rolling out with Michael and Krista in the future, where they're establishing authority with all of their ideas now that they have the skill set to actually self-publish.
Yeah. Absolutely. You're definitely going to be seeing it from me. I'm also going to put the link into the chat there. You've got the link to get Jenny's program. Definitely do not delay. Get in there and get it. And the other thing I just put in there is join us at the Podcasters Cruise. I don't know why it's not hitting the send button. Let me just try. There we go. Join us on the Podcasters Cruise as well. So you'll get to hang out with some really cool folks, including Jenny, Krista, myself, several other people. I think there were people in the group who've already checked out from here today who were booked for it as well. But would love to play with you guys. Get Jenny's program. We're going to grab it for ourselves because, I already knew we were excited about it from chatting with you on the Marketers Cruise, Jenny. now that I've gotten an even deeper understanding of it, and I can see the value of the support, because that's the other piece. You can probably do this on your own, and it can take you far longer, and you're probably going to make a lot of the same mistakes that she's already made. You can avoid all that at a really reasonable rate and just jump into the program. So that's my recommendation. And thank you, Jenny. And please, everybody else, give Jenny a big round of applause and thank you from the chat, because this has been so helpful.
Yeah, thank you guys for showing up for yourself. I always say information leads to inspiration. And so now that you know just a little bit about the potential, I want you to take action on that. Whether you join this program or you write down the ideas that you have, truly you deserve that. If you're here, you're showing up, you want to make your life better. It truly is. There's nothing better than self-publishing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thanks for having me. And thank you guys for hanging out at 40 minutes after. I want to respect your time and let you guys go, but
Yeah,
I'm so
been
grateful
great.
to be here.
Well, and let me ask you a final question then too, in case anybody else is thinking this as well. Oh, we got someone who's just popping into the room. A little late, but better late than never, I guess. So the final question that I kind of have is this. Like, I know some other folks will benefit from this who weren't here on the call. Can I share with them the link and say, hey, this is a program you might want to be with? And that's the other thing too. I'll say to anybody who's looking at getting into it, tell a friend about it, jump in. If you've got a book writing club, all of you can be in it, going through the program together. There is something about that camaraderie that helps to elevate everybody's efforts. And so is that cool if people share the link with others?
Yeah, I would love that. And let me tell you, one of my first students in the book Income Stream Machine was a book coach because
Mm,
she didn't know how to make books profitable. And the next student was someone that knows the marketing, the email, but they didn't know how to make books profitable. So we have book coaches in there. We have
love it.
Facebook ad agency people in here. We have freelancers. So freelancers learn the skill set and then they go help people publish. And so really there is so much synergy that I guarantee everyone on this call can benefit from either learning the skill set or offering the skill set to make money. So it is a monetizable thing, but it is truly, to me, I'm like, is this a confidence offer? Because once you know how to publish things you're excited about, I'll be picking my kids up from the bus and I'll have an idea. And in 20 hours, I'll have the book up and out. And it's just so great to be able to have that avenue. So hopefully you guys can join us so you don't miss out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much again, Jenny. Really appreciate you. Look forward to playing with you on the cruises as well, in addition to this. And please, I look forward to hanging out with you guys in the program too. And if you guys do jump in with us, let us know, because we'd love to create a little support team in the background where we're just giving each other that extra cheerleading to get stuff done and report with each other. So would love that. So look forward to playing with y'all. Jenny, again, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for showing up and sticking throughout. It's been great. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
You too.